WrestleMania, everybody's favorite pay-per-view, but let's be real, it's technically spawned from the best pay-per-view, from the Rumble. So today we're going to dig into 10 facts that I find interesting that you might not know about Mania. Number 10. Now everybody knows that, or not everybody, most people know that the original name was supposed to be the Colossal Tussle, that Vince McMahon had this massive idea, the Colossal Tussle. But how did he land on WrestleMania? So if you think about when WrestleMania came around, it was in the 80s. And who was massive in the 80s? There was a certain boy band called the Beatles. And they had a whole thing around them called Beatlemania. So Vince McMahon thought, why not? Let's just call it WrestleMania. And the rest, as they say, is history. So we all love, number 9 of course, so we all love Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, Psycho Sid, whatever you want to call him, Mr. Baseball, Mr. Softball, whatever. So Sid has a fantastic stat. It's shared by another person, but I'm not going to speak about Lawrence Taylor because he's not a real wrestler. Sid has only ever appeared in 2 WrestleManias, and both of them he happened to be in the main event. Will anybody ever beat that again? I don't know, we'll have to wait and find out. Number 8, you all know my favorite wrestler of all time is Stone Cold Steve Austin, as I'm sure a lot of yours are. But Stone Cold Steve Austin, every time at Mania you heard the glass shatter, he went for the WWE Championship. Of course, winning it at Mania 14 against Shawn Michaels, then winning at Mania 15 against The Rock, and then winning at Mania 17 versus The Rock again, with a little help from Vince McMahon. Let's call it a little bit of help. But did you know that Stone Cold never ever went into Mania as the world champion? Every time he went chasing, he never went in as the champion. Did you guys know that? So after the success of WrestleMania 1, Vince McMahon wanted to do it all over again, and he had WrestleMania 2. But he had a massive plan. He had a plan that, this is number 7 by the way, he had a massive plan that we can do it in 3 separate locations on a Monday by the way. This is not a fun fact. 3 separate locations that each location will have an opening match all the way through to a main event. So there was 3 opening matches, 3 mid-card, 3, you get the idea, 3 main events. Now, one of the main events happened to be, now by the way, if you had a ticket for WrestleMania, you had to watch a third of the matches on a screen, not live, which was not okay. Now, the interesting fact about this is one of the main events saw Hulk Hogan go up against King Kong Bundy. And to this date, that is the only, and this is the fun fact, the only steel cage match to take place at WrestleMania. Number 6. So the Attitude Era was dominated by a couple of people, but 4 of these people were Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, and Undertaker. Now what else do they have in common? We often speak about trilogies in wrestling. We've got Savage, Steamboat, we've got the one in NXT with Ciampa, Gargano, then we all know about Rock Austin, the trilogy. We've got Mania 15, we've got Mania 17, and we've got Mania 19. Now, another interesting thing is that is only one of 2 trilogies that we have at Mania, the other one being Triple H versus The Undertaker. Mania 17, Mania 27, and Mania 28. The only 2 trilogies in Mania history. What do you guys think? So obviously your goal is to get onto the Mania card, number 5 by the way, get on the Mania card, be one of the marquee matches and make a lot of money. So how long is it from Mania to Mania? Roughly 1 year. Now some people miss a Mania, they miss 2 Mania, so they go 1 or 2 years. But what is the longest gap between Manias? Up to WrestleMania 32, it was 21 years with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, 21 years between Mania and Mania, where he of course had the match with Chris Jericho. But then in Mania 32 they had the Andre the Giant Battle Royal Memorial Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, that's the name. And then somebody made a surprise return, Tatanka, and he broke Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's record by making it 23 years gap from participating in one Mania to another Mania. Will anybody ever be able to beat that? I highly doubt it. But what do you guys think? Will someone? Number 4. At WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan famously beat every member of Evolution. No, he didn't. He never beat Ric Flair at WrestleMania 30. Of course, he had Triple H in the opener, and then he had Batista and Randy Orton in the main event. Who has beaten every member of Evolution? Only one man, and that is The Undertaker. He's beaten Batista at Mania, he's beaten Triple H at Mania 3 times, he's beaten Ric Flair at Mania, and he's beaten Randy Orton at Mania. Will anybody ever be able to do that? Probably not, because Ric Flair is all but retired and Batista is all but retired as well. So number 3, when you picture WrestleMania, you picture, or the main event at least, you picture the biggest face of the company versus the biggest heel of the company for the World Championship. That's at least what I picture. That's how the show should go off. Well, technically that's not always been the case. At WrestleMania 1, the very first WrestleMania, Vince McMahon tried to get the mainstream audience involved. And how did he do that? By getting celebrities involved. One of those celebrities were Mr. T. So the main event was Mr. T and Hulk Hogan in a tag team match versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. Now the fun fact is there's been 3 WrestleManias where the main event was technically a tag team match. WrestleMania number 1, WrestleMania 2 was that Mania we already spoke about, where the 3 separate locations, which was just absolute shambles. Now technically one of the main events was a tag team match. One of the locations had a main event, and that was the British Bulldogs versus the Dream Team. Now where's the other tag team main event? That of course being last year's WrestleMania 39, where it was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. Now was that the main event? No, but it was night 1 main event, which in my book still counts. WrestleMania 4, we saw a tournament for the vacant, this is fun fact number 2 by the way, for the vacant WWE Championship. So what is fun fact about that? Tournaments is not fun. Well, tournaments are fun, but that's not a fun fact because tournaments are a regular occurrence. I love tournaments, by the way. King of the Ring, one of my all-time favorites. But I'm digressing. So what's fun fact about this is that Macho Man Randy Savage had 4 matches on one card, and he won all 4 matches. His opener against Butch Reed, then later against Greg the Hammer Valentine, and then of course against One Man Gang, and then lastly he went up against Ted DiBiase for the World Championship, and he won that as well. 4 matches in one WrestleMania, and he won all 4, and he won the championship. Now that's a fun fact. WrestleMania 2000, the Mania where there was, my last fun fact, the Mania where there was only one one-on-one match, and that was a women's match. The rest was all triple threats, tags, fatal 4-ways. There was a lack of one-on-one matches. Now the main event, that's not the fun fact, the McMahon in every corner. The fun fact is this: there was a triple threat match for the IC Championship and for the Intercontinental Championship. Now what's fun about this is Kurt Angle defended against Chris Benoit and Jericho. First fall would be for the IC Championship, second fall would be for the European Championship. Now Kurt Angle went in as double champion. He lost both his championships in one match without ever being pinned. So the first fall, Chris Benoit pinned Chris Jericho, became IC champion, and then the next fall, Chris Jericho pinned Chris Benoit, became European champion. Kurt Angle lost 2 championships in one night, in one match, without ever being pinned. Now that's a fun fact. Was there any fun facts I left out? Obviously there's a myriad of them. Let me know in the comment section. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this. Peace.